Hi everybody, this is Cindy and welcome back to Ideas Times 2. Today I have a follow-up video to my last video just from a few days ago, making pop-up elements for a junk journal. And one reason I decided to do these videos is because I've always thought of junk journals kind of like busy books, like you would give a toddler to keep them quiet at church, right? A lot of elements in a busy book, like buttons and snaps and zippers and pockets and things for kids to obviously to keep their hands busy, to keep them busy. And junk journals are kind of like that too, right? We have pockets and flips and side tucks and make a lot of things for people to almost hunt and play with when they're looking through their journals, when they're using their journals, right? And so the journals I've been making, I'm doing a series of Alice in Wonderland journals right now, and I wanted them to be very playful and very hands-on with a lot of different techniques for the interactive portion, right? And so especially for Alice in Wonderland, I thought it would be fun to do pop-up elements. And so in the last tutorial, I made this. I showed you how just really simple pop-up, right? And so this is how I finished it. Left the back blank so it could be written on. But this really is not an element that could be used for journaling other than just here on the back. But this technique can be used to make a whole bunch of other things. And so I wanted to maybe do a couple of other ideas that using the same technique, but creating different, maybe more elaborate kinds of elements. And if there's time, I'm going to do another one, another kind of pop-up, so we'll see how that goes. So the journal that I have finished, I did using the same technique. I made this pop-up element here, and so it's exactly the same. I just made it bigger so it goes across 2 full pages in the center of the signature, and extended it with playing cards like they're popping out, and have that have large pockets in the back for some elements. I have some coloring pages and journaling cards tucked in there. But you can see exactly the same technique, but adding another major pop-up element, a whimsical element in a journal. And this could be used in any kind of journal, not just Alice in Wonderland. So that's another way that I used that in the same journal. So I am right now doing some one signature journals, and I wanted to do something kind of whimsical in the center of the signature. And so we're going to use the same technique I used on this one and on the one I just showed you to do something a little different. So I have here a piece of cardstock already cut to the right size, and because it's going in the center of the signature, I cut it down to about 10.5 inches, so it's not sticking out on the side, and it should be 8.5 inches tall. And I've cut out a piece of neutral that I'm going to cut down so that it will create some pockets when it's glued down. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, should I score or just fold? I think I'll just fold. I'm going to fold this in half fold it in half again. I think I've got my folds going backwards, but that's okay. It doesn't matter because I can refold them and fold it back this way. Yeah, so you need to make a W because this is going to be glued down and this is going to be glued down, and so when it folds it'll be like this, okay? Just like the other one I made. All right, but I want to make this an interactive element, so what I'm going to do is grab some coffee stained paper, and I'm going to put coffee stained paper here and here because they'll be glued down so that there's room for writing, and then these two I'm going to turn into pockets. So I'm not a math person, so I'm not going to like measure and all of that. But what I'm going to do is trace my angles and cut them out. And that should be fairly accurate. And if it's not, I can, of course, cut a little more. But that's what I want. I want to leave a little border, just a small border around the outside on all four sides. And I think I want a little more border. So if I just cut from the bottom, that should fix the problem all the way around. And that will go here. Oh yeah, that's much better. Then I'll do the same thing on the other side. On the side, otherwise I won't have quite enough. You just want to make sure that your angles are going the right direction, so that when you glue it, that's why I didn't flip it over, because then my angle would have been facing the wrong direction. Not that it matters, because there's, it's just coffee stained paper. It's not directional, but, and I'll take about a 1/4 inch off the bottom. And that will give me on my two sides. And that leaves a place to write on both ends. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the pattern paper here in the middle to make pockets. And let's see, what do I have for paper? The problem, of course, is that I like both sides of everything, and I don't want to cut some of these pictures. It drives me crazy. Let's see. I think maybe I'm going to use this side here. And there's my background, so I think that will be, well, of course it's compatible. They're from the same pad of paper. And I'm going to do the same thing then on this, to make sure that everything fits. Okay, try to use my cutting mat. To make sure everything is aligned. And hopefully straight. If not, it's just paper and I can recut and then use this for something else. Hopefully that'll fit. Perfect, except I have pencil lines. All right, and then for the last one, same thing. I'm going to take it from over here. All right. I have a feeling I'm going to have to trim this one a little bit. Okay. Yep. That's not a problem. It's what I have the paper cutter for. And that should be good. Perfect. Except I've got some pencil marks. All right. Since I'm going to be sewing in the pockets and whatnot through the rest of the journal, I'm going to sew these as well. So let me glue the paper down on all four sides. I have the coffee stained paper. Yeah, if you wanted to make all four of these folds into pockets, that would be awesome. You could put cards or tags. In them. I'm going to sew around the edges and this one here. I'm just using Fabri-Tac, and you don't have to sew at all if you don't want to. I'm just going to be sewing everything in, and I like to be consistent, and I just like the look of everything being sewn on there. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this stuff in, and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back after having sewn around all four of the panels here, and the two in the middle are pockets, and I made little tags that have the same angle, to go in the pockets. And the back has just coffee stained paper. And I might embellish these a little bit, a little rubber stamping or something, I don't know. And then the last step is to glue the two outside panels down, making sure that, you know, this is a W. You want the center crease to be a mountain, not a valley. And you'll glue these two down on the sides. You know, if you want to just glue on 3 edges and make these pockets as well, that would be fine. Or, you know, this way and make a pocket this way, that's great too, whatever you decide. I do recommend, though, if you are putting this in a junk journal, that you don't glue this down until after you've sewn the signature into your cover, right? Otherwise, I mean, it can be done. I've done it myself, but it's a little harder to sew that signature in when this is there. But this is what it would look like when it's all finished, and it opens up and is another pop-up using the same technique as we used for this one. So super easy. And I have one last idea to show you, and for that you'll need 2 pieces of paper that are the same size as your whatever size paper you're using. So these are 8.5 by 11, or should be about 8.5 by 11. I might trim them a little bit because they'll be in the center of a signature. I think 11 inches might stick out a little bit. So I'm going to just trim maybe a 1/4 inch off of each side. And we're basically going to do the same technique we've already done, but just modify it a little bit. And so you'll have the piece in the background. I'm going to have this in the back. And fold that over. Grab my bone folder here. And I'm going to do the same thing with this as all of the other ones. We're going to fold, and if you want to score, you're just going to, whatever the size of your paper, score it in the middle, and then from the edges, I don't think I need to score it. I'm going to just go ahead and fold it in half. And then fold it one edge towards the middle and the other edge back towards the middle. So you have your W with the mountain in the middle. And so it'll go like this. And what we're going to do is make a window in the middle. And move this off to the side. And I'm going to, and it doesn't matter where you put it as far as if you want it towards the top, the bottom, or the middle. If you don't have a hole punch and you use the coffee cup method or whatever, and you just draw a circle and then cut it out, you can do that. If you have a die cut or a big hole punch, or if you want to do smaller ones, it's all flexible. But I'm going to go ahead and use this big, whatever size this is, 1.5 inches. This is the biggest hole punch I have. I'm going to just punch a hole, and I think I'm going to center it on here. And if you notice on the inside, and you can measure and use rulers or whatever, but on the inside of the hole punch, there's this X, and the X actually shows where the middle is. And so I'm going to use that to align. I'm going to align my paper right on that, that center line. And punch my hole. And so there we go. And that will give it a little peekaboo at the clock on the inside. So the next thing you're going to want to do is glue these two sides down. And I'm just going to use Fabri-Tac. You can make this any size that you want. It would work the center in a signature on a junk journal, in a, for greeting cards. And just need to make sure that your crease is aligned. Let's see. I want it a little further out here. And it's almost an inch from the edge. I like the fact that Fabri-Tac can be moved, but it still gets really sticky really fast. A little more glue on here. Okay. Make sure everything is pressed down really well. Super cute. So now you have some options, and I haven't really mentioned anything about measurements or sizes of anything, because of course you can modify this to fit whatever you want to make, whatever size journal you're making or cards you're making. And just like I mentioned on the other one, you might not want to glue down both sides if you're putting it in the center of a signature until after you've sewn it together. But I wanted you to see what it's going to look like. And if you want to, you can just leave it like this. With the paper I chose, I have these great borders here already. If you don't like the fact that there's two different papers here, and you want to cover them, you can make pockets. You can make pockets here, cover this up with pockets, or put a you can do all sorts of things. So I will leave that up to you what you choose to do. But this I thought was a lot of fun, and if you want to do embellishment, add a few little things here, or so many different things you can use with the same technique. So that is what I have for you today, just these two methods of using the same technique as just this fold, like I did with the playing cards. And I think you can have a lot of fun with this. You could just make this smaller and make lots of embellishments. So many things you can do. I hope you give it a try, and if you do, I hope you take some pictures and post them on our Facebook page. We'd love to see your work and what you're doing. If you're not a subscriber, we would love to have you subscribe. So thanks for joining me today with my Alice in Wonderland journals. 2 are done, 3 more to go. So hopefully I'll get them finished soon. So thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with me. I'm crafting this week because the temperatures outside are horrendous and I don't want to leave the air conditioning. So I will see you later. Happy crafting, everybody. Bye-bye.